We've had a hell of a couple of weeks, but I did get some exciting news this weekend. According to a new poll from YouGov, which is a serious polling site, or they were before this, I am more popular than the President of the United States.
Okay, let me just read this here. Donald Trump walked into an arena that holds 20,000 people and 19,999 people were so happy. And then there was Bill Burr's wife. Yeah, and I love how people are like, oh, how can you do that? It's like, well, he's racist. He likes to sort of plagiarize some Hitler stuff every once in a while. Like, what is surprising that a black woman wouldn't like him? I don't like the guy. My wife giving him the finger is what I love about my wife. Do you know where you stand with her? And you can't say that about a lot of people.
The comic industry is in its open season, and Jimmy Kimmel and Bill Burr are joining up to roast this century. The individual who believes that truth is a poor investment and humility is an infectious sickness is the target. Trump has essentially turned the Oval Office into a reality TV set since he has been so busy campaigning from there. Kimmel is the first to fire. What remains of Trump's ego could fit into an ant-shaped shot glass after Burr completes the job.
Well, I have some bad news. Our government is now officially shut down because we don't have funding to pay the federal workers. Trump really is running the country like it's one of his businesses. He said he would. Just to give you some perspective, the government being shut down is even worse than when it's up.
Please click the bell symbol and subscribe to the channel if you like this video. Kimmel doesn't waste any time in portraying Trump as a man who thinks that being loud equates to being correct. It's like seeing a blender attempt to give a TED lecture when you watch him give a speech. Every sentence sputters, swirls, and then fails. Burr continues, referring to Trump's self-assurance as the eighth wonder of the world. How is it possible for someone to be so certain about everything while still being mistaken about everything? Before the cameras ever switch on, the two comedians transform the president's news conferences into a tragic comedy in which reason fails.
Later, that tried to viciously attack the president this week. Have you been enjoying Trump's most ridiculous distraction from the Epstein files yet? The president claims he's the victim of a triple sabotage during his visit to the United Nations building in New York on Tuesday. The teleprompter wasn't working. There were issues with the sound system, and most nefariously of all, his escalator.
They target his fixation on crowd sizes once more. The endless follow-up to the most pointless argument in the world. Trump would act as though millions of people were watching him, even if he were standing by himself in a cornfield. Burr adds that the only effective wall Trump ever erected was the emotional one separating him from reality, while Kimmel laughs that he gauges his success by the number of flags he can wave in a phrase. Trump's own remarks continue to feed the fire, so it's the kind of roast that doesn't require flames.
Of the effect of the shutdown, it will be felt right here in New York. To punish you for disliking him, Trump is putting $18 billion worth of New York City infrastructure projects, like the new rail tunnels under the Hudson and the Second Avenue subway project, on hold to make sure the money isn't being used to support DEI.
The economy follows. Trump's favorite boast is the gleaming prize he unintentionally won. Burr likens it to a Jenga tower composed of wishful thinking and tweets. Kimmel interrupts to remind everyone that Trump placed the blame on everyone but himself when things began to falter. The media, the Fed, and the gravitational pull of the moon. Burr claims that Titanic would be the perfect movie to describe Trump's commercial acumen. The only one boasting about the iceberg's high ratings would be him.
That's not a sane human being. I would have been on the ground crying in the fetal position like, all right, give me the truck. I don't want this job anymore. But Trump's got all those weird, coming out. I think the guy couldn't get like a bead on him, And like right as he pulled the trigger, Trump was just like, and Sleepy Joe. And the bullet went by his head.
They also don't ignore his media conflicts. Trump has transformed fake news into an art form, a magical spell that makes all unpleasant facts vanish. As Kimmel notes, Trump treats journalists the way toddlers treat vegetables. Burr continues, it must not exist if he dislikes it. The two demonstrate that Trump does not view the press as an adversary. Reality is, and it consistently prevails.
It says they think it was Trump's own videographer that accidentally kicked a safety mechanism, but Magatha Christie and his team of defective detectives, they do not believe it. They are on the case. This was not just a minor incident. This was a harrowing escape.
Trump and Melania were riding it up, and it just stopped.
Thankfully, the First Lady and the President had their hands on the rail as they were going up the escalator.
I've never known an escalator to be stopped. I go on escalators all the time. That's when I'm happiest, on an
Kimmel delves into Trump's addiction to social media, describing it as the most chaotic. Presidential History Journal. The man tweets as if he were competing against sleep in a race. Burr joked that Trump might begin using skywriting to issue executive directives if his phone were taken away. The leader of the free world has become the most active online troll in existence due to a combination of Wi-Fi and insecurity. Kimmel does a great job at summarizing it. It resembles an emperor live streaming his own breakdown. Burr is compelled to address Trump's fixation with his image. The man who believes that having more hair equates to being a leader. He claims that Trump manages the nation with equal parts denial and confusion, just like he styles his hair. Every windstorm turns into a national security threat. Danger. There is a dilemma at every camera angle. Kimmel goes on to say that the only thing in Washington that has undergone more changes than Trump's policy is his hair. Kimmel refers to it as the only presidency in which a season finale might occur every week. Burr goes on to say that following Trump scandals is like to attempting to learn the words to a song that is always changing. The anarchy is emphasized as his brand. You never have to describe the fire when the smoke never goes away.
But he made a major announcement. I am ordering my administration to declassify and release all government records related to Amelia Earhart, her final trip and everything else about her. Thank you for your attention to this matter. We had no attention to that matter.
For Burr, foreign policy is his domain. He makes fun of Trump's propensity to treat diplomacy like a stand-up act, calling it strategy, while disparaging allies and praising autocrats. The president's proposal for peace talks sounds like a negative Yelp review. Kimmel continues. Noisy, useless, and self-centered all the time. They point out that Trump's foreign policy stance makes the UN seem like a group effort in middle school. They also keep an eye on the surroundings. Kimmel points out that Trump dismisses climate change as a liberal hoax that was sparked by the weather. Burr adds that Trump believes that air pollution is simply a sign of patriotism. When taken as a whole, they give the impression that Trump's environmental strategy is to outlive the earth. The two clarify it. During his tenure, facts are not truths. They are only recommendations that failed to win him the vote. Kimmel continues by referring to Trump's fondness for rallies as therapy sessions masquerading as patriotism. Being admired like a pop star who only performs for mirrors is where he recharges. According to Burr, it's the only location where Trump still has faith in his own myth. They make fun of the fact that every rally sounds like a remix of the same song while surrounded by people who clap in unison. Every time, it gets louder, angrier, and somehow less logical.
I'll be honest with you, I can't believe Trump didn't win this thing like 4 months ago. I know that's weird for younger people to hear, but when I was a kid, if you were running for president and you got shot and you didn't die, that was the end of the election. There was nothing you could say. Everybody would just be like, this guy's the man. He is the king. I'll be honest with you, I think the number one reason like Trump survived is all those herky-jerky.
They then discuss his incessant demand for allegiance. Kimmel likens it to a religious sect that, midway through, lost its intent. Trump demands devotion from everyone, but delivers it to no one, according to Burr. The workers, the interns, and even the cabinet. Except for the man who thinks he cannot be replaced, everyone is interchangeable. Trump is the lone remaining audience member and the director of this loyalty theatrical production. Kimmel shifts the focus to Trump's relationship with celebrities, characterizing it as a love-hate tale in all caps. Although he dislikes them, he seeks their praise. Trump names drops Hollywood like a teenager attempting to show that he's hip. Burr continues. They mock how Trump's self-assurance skyrocketed as the country went into a panic. How each announcement sounded like a poorly executed game show reveal. That's when leadership became a type of performance art. The two comedians then turned their attention to Trump's legal issues, which are a tale that makes law and order seem like a bedtime read. Kimmel claims that one man's ability to handle subpoenas like spam emails is amazing.
She walks on it, it stops, she turns around to the president, and she just leads the president up and walks. So she was unfazed by it. But this could have been a massive issue. And, you know, the president being frozen there in one place makes him vulnerable.
Yeah. Unless he can walk, then they act like they dropped him into shark-infested waters. It was an escalator. You know what another word for frozen escalator?
Burr goes on to say that Trump behaves as though the Constitution is just another agreement he can renegotiate. Collectively, they depict a president balancing campaign rallies and court appearances, transforming accountability into amusement. Kimmel makes fun of Trump and Truth's relationship, claiming that it is the longest-running split in American history. Burr goes on to say that Trump avoids being honest until it is absolutely necessary, much like most people avoid going to the dentist. They characterize his remarks as interpretive dance routines in which veracity is a myth and meaning is negotiable. The man ruins reality, not bends it. They characterize his diplomacy as a blend of bewilderment and flattery. Who was bargaining? Everyone wonders after this performance with whom. Trump's familial dynamics are not forgotten by the comedians. Kimmel refers to it as a White House succession remake devoid of skill. Burr goes on to say that the only bipartisan policy implemented by the Trump administration is nepotism. They emphasize how every news conference is like a family reunion, with everyone vying for attention. The Oval Office evolved into a reality show with hereditary positions rather than an actual office.
Have you been called, been notified by Trump to interview Trump? Would you interview Trump?
No, and I wouldn't interview a Democrat either.
Yeah.
I don't want to know those people. My job is to make fun of them.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. The same thing with an award show. Why the fuck would you ever host an award show? Your job as a comic is to make fun of an award show. Why would you go there?
I know.
I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, if that's something you want to do, because that is a big.
And some people are good at it.
There we go. We bought it back.
Yeah.
We bought it back.
Yeah.
Kimmel highlights Trump's propensity to declare victory over everything, including gravity if he was capable. Burr compares it to witnessing someone announcing that they have won a marathon. They didn't run. Every defeat is a plot. Every setback is the fault of someone else. They point out that leadership isn't Trump's strongest suit. It's a narrative. Regretfully, the plot is never coherent. The fixation with infrastructure follows. Trump's infrastructure week turned into the political equivalent of Bigfoot, according to Kimmel. Everyone was aware of it. It was never seen. It was a most grandiose, unfinished endeavor since his economic empire. Burr continues. They transform what was formerly a policy objective into a catchphrase regarding pledges that didn't hold up over time. They relocate to Trump's want to revisit his best songs. He is compared by Kimmel to an artist who sings just one song and maintains that it is still current. According to Burr, he has been using the same strategy for many years. Distract, deny insult, and repeat. The only reason this tactic is effective is because indignation has replaced oxygen as the new oxygen. Trump is addicted to the acclaim that every outburst generates because it is free PR. Then, concentrating on the irony this time, they attacked his rallies once more. How a love-obsessed man can't tolerate being asked questions. Ego insurance is more important than legacy. Next is the most costly metaphor in the world, the border wall. According to Kimmel, it's the only building project that has failed to keep reality out despite spending billions.
You remember the guy who keeps saying I have no ratings? Well, that makes two of us. They polled more than 1,000 people, and I lead Trump by 16 points. I'm at +3, he's at -13. is nice, but it feels like, considering the fact that I'm not a convicted felon friend of Jeffrey Epstein, and I've never paid off a porn star or sent a team of masked goons into a park to pull an old lady away from her grandchildren, I feel like my rating should be higher, maybe, than at this point finding a tone.
Trump marketed it as a national security superhero cape. Burr continues. However, it only blocked rationality. They roasted how each brick turned into a physical wall constructed out of political drama, a monument to stubbornness. They explore Trump's inconsistencies and the ways in which the self-described genius surrounds himself with chaos. Leadership by lottery, according to Kimmel, is erratic, dramatic, and somehow always self-serving. Burr goes on to say that Trump would still test negative even if competence were contagious. His inconsistency is turned into a continuous joke by them. The joke was that his worst flaw was his predictability. Kimmel returns to Trump's remarks, characterizing them as verbal works of abstract art. According to Burr, they resemble written fortune biscuits. Through a broken robot, each subject melds into the next. Ultimately, Trump's tendency is to use the country's pain as a chance to boost his popularity. It's referred to as emotional simplicity. His feeling of accountability is the only thing that is less than his attention span.
Dude, he is the greatest shit talker of all time. He sat at like $100,000 breakfast while the president trashed him. Humiliated.
This is a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I'm jumping around.
White House Correspondents' Dinner, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for giving it structure.
Yeah.
Humiliated the guy.
Right.
My wife would love you. You should sit next to me during brunch. She never knows what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sits there, the guy totally trashes him. He's absolutely humiliated. And within like 2-3 years, he had that guy's job.
Right.
So you could never talk shit to him. Going, hey, Donald, one time I was in a bar and this guy came in, oh, really? One time I was sitting, I paid $100,000 for breakfast. The President Trump, what the hell's his name? Barack?
Obama.
Yeah, Obama.
Yeah. I'm giving you structure now.
Yeah,
President Obama.
He trashed me. 2 years later, I had a fucking job.
They make fun of his golf outings, claiming that they are the most reliable rule in his management. Trump, according to Kimmel, views the presidency as a weekend pastime in between rounds. Burr goes on to say that the wall surrounding his golf courses is the only one he has ever successfully constructed. They joke that Trump would be the hardest working man in America if effort were measured in swings. Then, even when he was in government, they addressed his never-ending campaign rallies. According to Kimmel, Trump has been vying for re-election ever since taking office. Burr goes on to say that he serves more as a personal brand ambassador than a president. They draw attention to the way he has used politics into self-promotion, making the White House the priciest billboard in the world. Trump desired to be, he is being immortalized in memes, but he is immortalized in marble. Not only do Kimmel and Burr make fun of him, but they also serve as a reminder to everyone that satire is thriving and that the truth must be heard loud and clear. The hilarity continues even after the roast concludes, because the humor will naturally develop as long as Trump speaks.